So my name is Elise Rudolph. I'm the Director of Online Admissions and Recruitment with UC Berkeley's online MPH program, and I'm joined by my wonderful colleague Stephanie. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Elise. Yes, my name is Stephanie Nguyen, pronounced she, her, and I am the online education recruitment manager. So we are your admissions and recruitment team, and we're excited to have you here today.
Absolutely. And we'll be covering a few things tonight. We'll talk a little bit about the program at large. So, our mission and vision as the online Masters in Public Health program. We'll talk about really what the purpose of the essays that we require are, what value they add to your application. We're then going to go through each of the two required essays and talk specifically about the prompts, how to approach writing them, some themes and examples of past essays that you can draw from. And then we'll end with some final do's and don'ts before opening it up for Q&A. Our mission here at UC Berkeley School of Public Health, specifically the online Masters in Public Health program, is healthy people locally and globally. We want to extend Berkeley's reach to improve population health, especially for the most vulnerable, by providing the tools to address pressing public health problems in a variety of ways. So essentially, we here at UC Berkeley School of Public Health wanted to do just that. We wanted to extend Berkeley's reach to folks who wanted a high quality public health education, but didn't necessarily want to give up their jobs or relocate to the Bay Area. And so we really wanted to provide this education to folks to build up leaders where they are in real time, while they're participating in their networks, their community, so on and so forth. So we really believe in offering this top-notch education in an online modality. And we also like to share that this is the same program that we offer on campus. It's largely the same faculty, it's the same coursework. In fact, a lot of our on-campus students take our online courses. So, this is absolutely the same high quality education we're offering on campus at UC Berkeley. Again, we just want to make it accessible to our mid-career professionals who are already in the workforce, very likely in public health related fields, already making an impact. And our values here are service and community, showing up with authenticity, growth rooted in justice and equity, cultivating connection through learning, and centering wellness. So before we kind of dive into the specifics of the various essays that we offer, we wanted to share a little bit about what value your essays bring to your application. Your essays really are a key and critical piece of your overall application package. The reason being it's your opportunity to, in your own words, introduce yourself to the admissions committee. You get to share about your personal lived experiences, your reasons for pursuing a master's in public health, again, in your own words. You're telling us your story. I always like to share that there's sort of very few places in the application where you get to tell your story completely in your own words. Your transcripts are sort of this fixed picture of your academic background. Your, resume is sort of, again, a fixed picture of your professional background. But in your essays, you get to tell us a story about who you are. And so, again, it's extremely valuable. And there's two essays that we require. The personal history statement, which really allows us to see beyond those two-dimensional academic pieces. And we want to see you as an individual, the potential that you might bring to our graduate program. And we get to see a little bit about your lived experiences, what makes you unique. And then your statement of purpose is a really key piece of our understanding. Why an MPH? How does that align with your particular career goals and where you want to go long term? So again, can't overstate the value of your essays. All righty.
The personal history statement checklist has 4 areas that I typically call attention to: the introduction, the body, conclusion, and the maximum word count. So that is something that gets overlooked, but we really want to emphasize that. So just ensuring that you have an idea to work with, we recommend that you start with the introduction, set the context to your story, and have a body. Provide some of the main details that Elise alluded to. And this can be in any of the areas that you feel is relevant for us to know. These are just commonly shared topics that are often found in the personal history statement. And the conclusion also can be a segue into a statement of purpose, or it can just be a reassuring factor to your personal history statement that embodies who you are and highlights of what you want to share with us. So to simplify it, just consider having an introduction, body, and conclusion. So I'd like to get into an example. This doesn't have to be the exact framework. So we want to specify that your personal history statement is really true to yourself, but this is something that we were able to pull from one of our applicants and wanted to share with you. So I will read this out loud and I will point out what exactly uh, really highlighted their key points in their essay that we found valuable. So I was born and raised in Hong Kong, where I spent all of my childhood and adolescent years. At the age of 19, I moved to Canada to pursue my undergraduate and postgraduate education. Upon graduation, I decided to remain in Canada because of the country's favorable work and political environment. My parents are retired government employees. My brother is 4 years older than me and has a PhD in chemistry. He currently owns and teaches at a private tutoring school in Hong Kong. My brother and I are very close, and he is the model who I have always looked up to growing up. My core values are heavily influenced by my family, elementary school and high school. My parents were baby boomers and did not have the opportunity to pursue university education despite graduating high school with good grades. Therefore, when it came to schoolwork and academic achievements, they have always had high standards for my brother and me, hoping that we could pursue higher education someday and reach our potential. Throughout my life, my parents have inspired me to be diligent, conscientious, and perseverant. And it is this inspiration that has motivated me to always do my best in any task that I take on. And what we found here is that the applicant helps the readers or committee, as you will, make a connection of their lived experiences, interests, and who and what inspires them to persevere and strive for their best in a cohesive way. So we really start to see more detail into their personal life experiences and how it connects to their academic pursuit and motivation. Another detail of the body that we saw here was when I was deciding on the field of study for my university education and future career, I did not choose the areas that the majority of my cohort chose. Instead, I followed my interests and I chose speech language pathology, despite it being a highly uncommon choice among my peers. Whether it is learning a new language, studying vocal classical music, singing in the school's choirs, or practicing my Chinese and English calligraphy, I've always found great satisfaction and enjoyment in appreciating art and culture through language. I'm very grateful that I'm able to pursue a career in something that I'm passionate about. And it's really exciting because we get to feel the emotions, we get to see your spark or their spark of interest, and it really shows a strong sense of confidence, self awareness as they are exploring academic and professional pathways, and overall passion. And I think that's really critical in a personal history statement. It's very unique to yourself, your experiences, and we would love to see that highlighted in your statement. And the example of a personal history statement closing. As I developed my career in speech language pathology in the public health setting, I have enhanced my knowledge not only within my professional scope, but also healthcare systems overall. I've been very fortunate to work with highly skilled and experienced healthcare professionals who have generously shared their vast knowledge. In Chinese literature, this is a proverb: when you drink the water, think about the source. Because of working in public health has helped me grow as a clinician and as a person, I'm dedicated to giving back to the public health community by advancing my knowledge and making a positive and meaningful differences in this field. And what I really loved about this closing statement here is they make the argument about what they want to continue pursuing. It shows that there's maturity. There's also indicators of interest in strengthening their knowledge and really how the public health training, you know, is important in their life and what they want to do to continue making that positive impact. So I really valued this essay for being able to call attention to those pieces there.
Yeah, absolutely. And so now we'll talk a little bit about the second essay that is required, your statement of purpose. We know the titles sound very similar, your personal history statement and your statement of purpose, but they are distinct, and it is important that you ensure that they are unique, they don't repeat each other, things like that. So this is kind of a brief checklist of what you might want to keep in mind when you're writing your statement of purpose. So while you may reference aspects of your background, history, and training, like you would in your personal history statement, the point of your statement of purpose is really more how those things have led you to pursue graduate school and a career in public health. So this is a lot more forward looking, I would say generally. We want to know what your eventual career goals are in public health. We want to understand if there's a specific population you want to work with, if there's a specific topic area you're interested in, or what concentration you're looking to pursue within our program. We want to know why you need a degree in in public health. So, why is an MPH really going to make the difference for you in terms of where you're going? And, we want to understand better, is there a specific type of training or experience you're hoping to gain from an MPH program? We want to know why UC Berkeley. That's a huge piece as well. I think any school you're applying to, they're going to say the same things. But, here at UC Berkeley, we also want to know what's special about our program. How does our program and our offerings align with you? Maybe it's our values, our mission. Maybe it's the culture at UC Berkeley. Maybe it's one of the concentrations that we offer. But tell us, maybe it's specific faculty or their research that interests you or aligns with your goals. So do a little bit of that digging and tell us about that. Again, what classes you might be interested in, faculty, things like that. And so Stephanie mentioned this essay also has 1,000-word limit. So every word that you write, every statement you make should have a purpose and should readdress the prompt. All right, so we'll dive into some examples here. And as Stephanie mentioned, these are actually excerpts from real essays, like admitted students who ended up joining our program, who have graciously allowed us to use their essays. So we think these are great examples to illustrate kind of some of the points we're hoping to make here. In the 9 years that I have been a speech language pathologist, I'm fortunate to have had an opportunity to work in various public clinical settings as well as private practice. While having such a broad clinical experience has refined and enriched my clinical skills as a speech language pathologist, it has also opened my eyes to the importance of creating a public health system that on one hand ensures inclusiveness, equity, and easy access, and on the other hand is efficient and cost-effective. The clinical population that I work with most frequently are people with communication disorders as a result of acquired brain injuries or degenerative neurological conditions over the years. Over the years, I've come to appreciate how these communication impairments impact not only these people's day-to-day functioning, but also their ability to advocate for themselves, their safety in the community, and their ability to access public services, including healthcare. Unfortunately, the awareness within the healthcare system and the general public of the struggles of this population continues to be limited. Rehabilitation services and community support for people with communication disabilities are currently far from adequate. With knowledge of healthcare finance and policymaking, I'm hoping to advocate for this population on a larger scale in realistic and practical ways. Yeah, so I think this person is really describing, they're telling us a bit about their career experience and how that has led them toward public health. They're telling us about a specific area of public health and a specific population that they're interested in working with and supporting. And they're also mentioning some specific skills that they want to gain that they believe will make them a better advocate for this population that they're hoping to work with. And again, I think, at the bottom here, we've highlighted how this is highlighting their professional experiences without redundancy. So they're not regurgitating their resume. They're not necessarily going back into their lived experiences quite in the same way that your personal history statement would, but they are drawing on some experiences and connecting that to their goals, the skills they hope to gain, the population they want to work with, et cetera. All right, so our next example is to gain a more comprehensive understanding of the healthcare system. I have recently taken up the position of care management coordinator in addition to my job as a speech language pathologist. In this new role, one of the recurrent challenges I have encountered is having to secure a safe discharge destination for patients who either cannot return to their previous residence due to their injury or do not have a home prior to admission. After suffering a major injury or illness, it is without a doubt that having a supported and therapeutic living environment to return to is crucial. This will help maximize recovery and quality of life, but also lower the risk of readmission to the hospital. However, with inadequate community support and the housing crisis in my city, this has been proven to be extremely challenging for these patients. For our homeless patients, not having a fixed address may also preclude them from accessing certain medical or therapy services. Therefore, I have developed a strong interest in advocating for increased temporary and long-term housing support for individuals recovering from major acquired illness or injuries. So again, I think this candidate is really telling us about their experiences and how that connects to specific training and goals that they hope to acquire. This specific candidate studied health policy and management, and you can see them kind of getting to that in this. They're talking about the problems they see with the healthcare system, issues that they're hoping to be able to address with more skills and training, and ways that they want to be a better advocate. And as a closing, at my workplace, I have also had the opportunity to participate in quality improvement projects such as securing funding for new medical equipment, redesigning the patient scheduling system, and optimizing patient flow. From these experiences, I have come to understand that one of the pivotal steps in advocating for increased services for any clinical population is to demonstrate that the efficiency and capacity of the current system have been maximized. This has inspired me to start contemplating our current practices and identifying potential room for improvements, adapting long-established practices to be more contemporary and cost-effective, simplifying convoluted procedures, ensuring human resources are utilized appropriately, etc. With additional knowledge in health policy and management, I will be able to contribute to my profession and our healthcare system in efficiency enhancement, which in turn will help pave the way for the aforementioned advocacy work. In summary, given my experience with and dedication to public health on top of my strong academic background, I believe that I am a suitable candidate for the online Masters of Public Health program at the University of California, Berkeley. I am confident that by completing this program, I will be well equipped with the knowledge I need to pursue my career goals as stated above. So one thing I really think is compelling about this conclusion is that in that last sentence, they're essentially making an argument of why they should be admitted to the program. I think this is something important to keep in mind as you're writing these essays. Your audience is the admissions committee. It's faculty at our program. And really at the end of the day, your entire admissions package is, it's meant to argue the case of why you should be in this program. And it certainly can't hurt to kind of state that in your statement of purpose, why you are qualified, why you're ready, why our program's the right fit. So I think this essay does that well. I think, also we talked about this already, but they've made a strong case for why health policy and management specifically is the concentration that makes the most sense for their goals. They've talked about some accomplishments. They start by describing certain things they've done in the workplace. So they're describing their accomplishments, but again, not in a way that's regurgitating their resume. They're just highlighting key skills that connect to their goals within a public health program. So I think there's a lot that can be drawn from this example. All right, so we're gonna give you some final do's and don'ts, just some things to keep in mind as you're writing your essays. And these are applicable for both the statement of purpose and the personal history statement. Many of them we've already touched on, but we'll go over them again to solidify. So do reflect on your experiences and draft an initial brainstorm. I know that we have a deadline coming up on Sunday, the 2nd, but I think that still is plenty of time to sit down, even if you haven't started writing your essays, before you do, sit down, create an outline, take a moment to outline, what are kind of those critical moments in my life, in my career that have led me to public health, that have prepared me uniquely for graduate school. Um, Use the prompts to guide your responses. And I recommend kind of going back to the prompt while you're writing. So revisit the prompt throughout the writing process to make sure that each paragraph, each sentence is tying into the prompt. Um, Research our website. So take a little bit of time to go through our website, check out some of the faculty and their research, take a look at our curriculum, things like that. Um, Definitely have proofreaders. We recommend at least 1 to 2 readers to offer you feedback. It's so different than just reading it yourself, because we all know that it's easy to kind of gloss over our mistakes, or things sound different when we're reading them in our own voice. So have external readers. Ensure that your writing is clear, concise, and coherent. Having proofreaders can really help with that as well. Remember that your personal history statement and statement of purpose have different prompts. So, go back over your 2 essays to make sure they aren't repeating each other or highlighting too many of the same experiences. We recommend using Arial or Times New Roman font and font size 12. And the don'ts, don't repeat your resume. We don't want you to just do a narrative style regurgitation of all of your professional experiences. Don't be vague about your interests or reasonings for wanting an MPH. You know yourself very well. The people in your life know you, and they might be able to put 2 and 2 together if you're making a vague statement about why you want to go to grad school. But the admissions committee, they don't know you. And so be explicit, be really clear. Say, I want to do this because it doesn't have to be those exact words, but be very clear about why this program, why you're qualified, why we should admit you. Spell it out for us. Assume, this ties into the next part, which is don't assume that readers will make connections on your behalf. So if there's something that's really important that you want to tell us, that you feel like is maybe mentioned in, another part of the application, you can highlight it again if you think it's really important. Um, we don't want to assume that the folks reading your application are going to be able to connect the dots on your behalf. So just again, if there's something you want us to know, state it very clearly. Again, your audience is faculty in our program. At least 3 faculty read every single essay cover to cover. So we have a very robust holistic review process, and that's the audience you should keep in mind. Don't rush the writing process. So set aside time, make sure you have dedicated time to sit down and work on these essays, and give yourself breaks as well. All right, so those are our do's and don'ts. Oh, I'll pass it back to Stephanie to close us out.
Thanks, Elise. One of the things that I was thinking about during this session was we actually had the applicant join us for a previous session. And one of the things that stuck out to me was how much they learned in the program, even when it came down to terminology, when they were able to reflect what they wrote. It was really interesting to see how much growth they had in our program, and just what their mission was and how it expanded as a student. And it was just a thought that I had. And I hope that when you are able to submit your application, you feel as confident as the applicant did, just being able to share their thoughts with us. Closing out with the important dates, we have the March 2nd deadline coming up pretty soon, so just keep that marked on your calendar. The application will officially close at 8:59 Pacific time. So if there's any issues or you have any questions, beforehand, it's best to reach out to us at online.mph@berkeley.edu. Our next event will be the Director's Drop-in Application Advising with Elise. So check that out if you have a quick question and you just want to get a quick response on that. Elise will be hosting that on Friday, February 28th, so coming up at 12 p.m. And as always, we have many ways to stay connected with us. So if you want to follow our socials, we are primarily on LinkedIn. We are also on Instagram, and we will also be available on Blue Sky. So with that said, I'm going to close out this session. Thank you so much for attending. We're going to open it up for Q&A, and I'm going to pause the recording here.